Howdy, howdy. Ask and ye shall receive. I'm wearing a suit jacket and a tie. Suit and tie. Is that formal enough? No collared shirt though. That's where I draw the line. I'm sorry. I'm formal, so I'm gonna read you the funding ask. I have something written down. Hi, Mom. Let's get started. This is a funding request for having you help us build the future of education. I'm gonna read this off. Hello. If you've received this, it's because you're someone close to me, someone I trust, and likely someone in a more financially stable position than I am now. I'm currently building something that I believe could reshape education for the better. It's called SCOOL, the Scalable Community for Open Online Learning. And it's not just a product. It's a platform, a philosophy, and a long-term solution to a broken education system. TLDR, too long, did read. Scan the link, please. I'm launching a community-driven, AI-powered education platform during a 60-day sprint ending June 30th, 2025. This is my all-in, do-or-die window before I may be forced to take a traditional job, which would drastically delay the development of this platform. To get this off the ground, I'm asking for short-term support, not investment. I cannot promise financial return at this time, but contribution through platforms like Ko-fi, Patreon, or direct sharing. What we're building, SCOOL, is a decentralized, creator-owned learning platform merging open access educational content, personal knowledge management, LLM-based tutoring and insight tools, algorithmic feeds to promote meaningful learning, not clickbait, and a DAO structure for community ownership, that being a decentralized autonomous organization. We are positing this to be creator-owned, as previously stated, and creator-maintained. This is going to be something that is going to outlive me, ideally. We're trying to transform social media from a slot machine into a school, where learning is engaging, personalized, and credible. What do we need and why? Here's a transparent look at our immediate financial needs. LLC filing costs a little bit of money. Purchasing the domains also costs a bit of money. I have already done these two out of my own pocket, but that is at risk of my own financial stability. Web hosting. I luckily have my own personal website, so have been hosting it at that, but it is not the most professional, so I would like to purchase a web hosting for specifically the ARX Foundation and specifically SCOOL. Until then, it's going to be on vault.hopefullyabysmal.com and likely school.hopefullyabysmal.com. Continuing, local hardware for storage of all of the data that we're going to be needing to do, or credits to go and purchase storage at a data storage center. In the local term, I personally want to purchase an NAS, a network attached storage, for my own utilization, but I'm biased. So help out if you can. If not, we'll be using the money likely to just buy storage at some data facility. But I want to be able to trust it. So this is going to be for proprietary research and local backups. It's going to be about $2,000, depends on how much storage we need to get. Further from there, we need to be getting actual compute, so processing on the cloud. There is a clustering system called Kubernetes. I don't want to go into the jargon. Right now, this is for family. But to be able to run AI at scale and deploy it to a mass amount of people, we need to get a data center, and not get the data center, but pay a data center to run our programs for us. So that could be about $500 to $1,000 during the MVP phase, but this is only going to go up. That is our main overhead throughout the course of this business. And then, to me, my basic living expenses. I'm married. My wife is going to be going into a master's program. So completely, regardless of paying for the master's program, just being able to pay for rent and food after my runway has currently expired, I have enough money to get me through this. But it certainly would not help to have a little bit more. So, pre-launch, need about $5,000. 2 months post-challenge, going up to roughly $10,000 to $12,000. We are in the running for the $100,000 for the competition. Building a, come on. building a better future through AI and through business and AI. So that is the Mays School at Texas A&M did a national competition for AI-focused ventures that we're applying for. But the actual pitch for that is not until September. So that 100 grand is not going to be occurring until then. And then we also need the money to get the MVP up to have that pitch in the first place in order to have a chance at winning. So what I have already committed, I'm putting the remaining amount of my student loans, as much of it as I can, aside from paying rent so I can live, I'm putting that into this business. I have faith in it, and I hope that faith can be contagious. I'm dedicating every waking hour to building this platform. I'm wearing a suit for the funding of this platform. The reason I'm doing a startup is such that I don't have to wear a suit when I don't want to. But I'm wearing a suit for this because this means a lot to me. Part of a suit. I'm doing all of the initial development by myself, and I'm open sourcing all of the code. This is going to be public. I'm doing this all in public, such that anybody can help out. And I hope that people will help out. But until then, I am doing solo dev. My co-founder, Adam Miri, is going to be helping me a lot with the money and the public-facing side of things, and I am greatly appreciative of him. But I digress. This is not a hobby. This is a launch plan. This is not just a moonshot. This is going for the stars. How can you help? Fund it if you can. Through these platforms, I'm going to be also releasing extra content goodies, kind of looks into my personal life. I recently posted a video of me making a TV mount, completely regardless, like not regardless, but irrelevant. But it's just little things like that. And also videos of me making the thumbnails for these videos, like the fun things that I enjoy about this kind of thing, the non-bureaucratic, non-developmental side of things that almost anybody can enjoy. That will be going on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Additionally, if you know me personally, send me money through any means that you can, please. Even if it's just buying me food, I will give you my address. Send me some Uber Eats, dude. The more time I sit in this chair, the more progress gets done on this thing. Second, I understand that not everybody is going to be in a financially stable position. I'm going to be sharing this to my friends as well who are fellow college students. But you can still help by sharing the links, sharing the mission, sharing any of this will help. I believe that the people who are intrigued by this will also want to contribute. This is a problem not only I have deemed worth solving. So, reading, someone you know may care about education, tech, or community enough to chip in. So even going back to the funding, if you share it, maybe somebody else who is in a better financial situation can help. Continuing. If you are in a position to contribute, a dev, researcher, educator, or artist, content creator, or if you know anybody, reach out to them, and then have them reach out to me. This is meant to be creator-led, creator-benefiting, and creator-owned, but I need creators to help me bring it to fruition. So, again, what is this that I'm making? Why does it matter? Let's go into the what is this that I'm making again. I already did this a couple videos ago, but for the sake of having continuity, I will do it again. The ELI5, explain it like I'm 5 of the platform. We're building a new kind of online school, one that's free, fair, and smart enough to work for everyone, not just the lucky few. Utilizing new technologies and really trying to make sure that education and knowledge stays a right. I read through this in, I believe it was day 7, the Imagine This, the Vision Fully Realized. And I will also link it below if you want to read it yourself. But we are pressed for time. It's coming up on 10 minutes, and I don't want to be wasting y'all's time. That. Cool. Why this matters? There is urgency. There are a lot of funding cuts that are occurring. There are a lot of turmoil. There is a lot of turmoil that is occurring. I don't want to get into politics, but things are scary out there. And we want to get this up as soon as possible. Things are scary for my life. I want to get this up as soon as possible. But I don't want to do this alone. I can't do this alone. If you care about education, community, or helping someone escape the trap of debt, stagnation, and wasted potential, consider joining me now. Let's build something worth learning from. Thank you. Moving on. Family, I appreciate you for sticking with me. Friends and strangers, good stuff. Family, you're free to go if you want to. But my co-founder, Adam, again, in charge of the money. Thank you. I hate dealing with money. I hate it. Did a little market analysis that I think we can go over because it's relevant. And then at the end of the video, I have a forwardable that I will also be linking to. I went through like 6 drafts of this. It's a pain to write. I'm going to enunciate it, and this will be sent out to a network of tech enthusiasts. So if you are one of them seeing this video right now, I appreciate you so much for coming and learning about what I'm trying to do. But back to the market analysis. It's quite cool. Industry category, we're going to be looking into EdTech, so education technologies. The adjacent industry would be the creator economy, AI software as a service, Web3 and blockchain, and knowledge management. So the personal knowledge management system, like Obsidian, is what I'm currently using right now. We love Obsidian. It's free. Go download it. Learn something. It's cool. I am unfamiliar with these classifications, which is why Adam is the GOAT. So yeah. On not just the US is where I think this is the most urgent, and this is where I am based out of. This is where I know basic taxes. Most people don't know taxes, myself included, but I know enough about it to try to figure something out. This is not just a US thing, though. This is global, and because it's on the internet, it is globally scalable. So the global edtech market is projected to grow from $142 billion in 2024 to $348 billion by 2030. That's sourced by Holland IQ. Similarly, AI in education is expected to reach $30 billion globally by 2032, and then this is going to be driven by personalized learning systems, assessment automation, and virtual mentors. Exactly what we're trying to do. Web3 adoption in education is emerging, especially in credentialing, contributor royalties, and DAO governance for curriculum curation. In non-jargon terms, us as education fanatics, that being educators, students, anybody involved in the education system, want to have a say in what they learn and how they learn it. The technology of Web3, that being the semantic web and all of the blockchain and crypto stuff that comes along with it, allows for something called the decentralized autonomous organization. And through that, democratic governance, that being the voting of a corpus of people, like a population, to influence that system. And that's what we're trying to build with SCOOL. Something that people can vote to change, if change is required. It needs to be a dynamic system. The US trends reflect growing dissatisfaction with the Department of Education and rising school privatization. This creates an opening for community-aligned alternatives. I believe that the privatization of education brings a great risk for what is going to be taught within those schools. So as such, I am making this such that the people can have more of a say. On the regulatory side of things, this is going to be covered by FERPA, which is the data collection and sharing. I have a note on the privacy policy, modern privacy policy for open education. We are positing this to be user-centric, like the user owns their data, and that is a big portion of this. That is a big portion of the compensation model, that the user owns their data and can sell it if they choose to, but also it's an opt-in, not an opt-out. Secondarily, schools and grant-funded orgs seek equity-first tools. I'm unsure what this is referring to. I'm going to have a conversation with Adam about this. This is ad-libbed right now. And then third, open educational resources, OER, the policy incentivizes making your public good approach more fundable. I believe it's making our So like there's going to be a lot of resources for making this a public good, and we need to be looking into it. Like resources as in like potentially ways to get around very strict regulations to a degree. I'm unsure. Again, I'm gonna have to have a conversation. But the meat of this is in the numbers. So total addressable market, as previously stated, 248 billion by 2030. Scalable address or just the addressable market. I forget what the S stands for. I think scalable. The 25 to 30 billion by 2027, and that includes the AI personalized decentralized education platforms in general. And then our obtainable market, we think within 3 to 5 years, around 250 million. Again, I'm going to have to look at the numbers to verify, but I trust Adam. So this is based on 5,000 schools with $5,000 average license, plus $30 million in individual subscriptions. Likely this is going to be tweaked. I do have a copy of the funding model here. The main 4 funding sources we're going to be looking into is that of advertising, with a caveat, sponsorships, institutional fees, and individual fees. This individual fees and advertising being last, and the choice of what funding mechanisms to employ is going to be DAO chosen. I personally despise advertising, so I'm wanting to build something that is like a threshold for relevance. A number that can be set that if the ad is not relevant to the user and the funding is not needed from that ad, the ad is not shown to the user. This is not something that is greed-based. This is something that is necessity-based. The sponsorships could go twofold, sponsoring the actual platform itself and sponsoring individuals to pay the fees if need be, akin to the scholarship model that is in our current education system. And then finally, the institutions are not just the educational institutions, but also potentially future employers. The example I provided earlier was if Lockheed Martin wants to sponsor an aerospace program, they can pay for that. All of the creators are going to get paid, the overhead gets paid, and potentially some excess funds can be set by the DAO to maintain the funding pool stability. As these are going to be akin to charity, to an extent. It's charity with a potential return on investment, non-monetary return on investment, but making a better worker. I think most businesses, especially big corporations, would like to invest in their workers being better, and that is how I will sell it. How I plan to make money is through the development of accelerative learning tools, not the platform, but tools that can sit on top of the platform. That specifically being, one great example is that of the large language model, the LLM, like ChatGPT. We were able to summarize the majority, if not all, of human knowledge into one chatbot. That is an amazing example of a tool that accelerates one's learning. But there are also other tools akin to one, I want to build one that's on user censorship. User-defined censorship, being able to filter texts and be able to filter different content that is viewed. Not just for the modern day utilization of profanity and not seeing what you don't want to see, but also in academic pursuits, being able to focus, have a computer basically focus for you and keep you on task. Say I'm learning something about economics, but I don't really necessarily want to learn about the modern day politics. That's fine. That is doable under that accelerative learning tool. Secondarily, another one I'm wanting to build is called Interphrase, a language learning tool that uses the same technology as the user-defined censorship, calling that one bliss and ignorance, but that's funny and not professional, and I apologize. I'm professional right now. Using that same technology to substitute words and phrases such that one can learn a language in a shorter period of time, gradually immersing themselves in the culture and language of whatever they're trying to learn. One thing I would like to push is that of a universal language. This could be also a big push for world peace. I'm a pacifist. I digress. Continuing on the market analysis, further logic around that potentially needs tweaking, but it is sound by the surface level of it. Tweaking to the funding cycle, not tweaking just in general. So, target market segments, we are going to be shooting for the users to be the students, the customers to be those who are funding. Of these students, of these users, the target markets will be underserved students, that being demographics of primarily K-12 public schools, the ones that are being defunded right now, especially in low-income areas, or as previously stated, underserved areas. They need free access, flexibility, and low digital literacy barriers in order to actually prosper. These are barriers that exist, and we want to take them down because with technology, they can be taken down quite easily. Why underserved? Current education technology tools are expensive, passive, or non-personalized, and we feel that our platform could significantly help reduce the gap in education and literacy for that. Second, a more tame demographic, but one like myself. I have finished my education. I'm choosing not to go into the workforce in the traditional method, but regardless of that, there are plenty of independent learners. The trend of education, like educational content, they call it edutainment is the industry term, like educational entertainment, proves that there is a market for people who enjoy learning. The concept of a lifelong learner. I myself am one. Again, this is a platform that I'm building for me to use. I am the primary person with the problem not solved in this demographic. So, ages 16 to 40, career switchers, homeschoolers, autodidacts. What is this word? That is an interesting word, Adam. That is a self-taught person. Ah, that is a fun word. I enjoy that word. Okay. Autodidacts. The use case. Use School to organize, validate, and monetize self-directed learning paths. Again, if they're self-learners, they can be self-creators as well. The user-generated content model has been proven by YouTube and all these social media platforms. So we can potentially make careers off of this. That's what I would like. I would love a career in content creation. I think it's really fun. I'm having a blast doing this. Professional. Scan the link. Third, educators and knowledge creators. Again, targeting the actual creators themselves. We want to sustain careers on this. The educators themselves, subset of freelancers, YouTube instructors, small school teachers, and even college professors. They need monetization, content attribution, and creative control. Why are they underserved in other platforms, that being the current education system and stuff like YouTube, Udemy? Those other digital platforms take large cuts and offer minimal community governance. And the current actual educational institutions, I'm unfamiliar with the exact quantity of cuts, but I would argue that there likely are restrictions to the amount of people they can serve, and that in and of themselves is a waste of their talent. The concept of recording a lecture and learning from that was proven by COVID. It is doable. The hybrid structure has blossomed. Institutions like Harvard and MIT starting open access programs is amazing. You can go and take classes for free at Harvard and MIT. Anybody can. It's so cool. I want to lean into that and have all institutions do that. I don't think gatekeeping education is a good competitive advantage. That's just it. Fourth, institutions exploring AI. So we are also targeting the institutions themselves. As previously stated, we believe this to be a good educational backend. Subsets of this, the demographics of public school districts, charter networks, and then alt education incubators. Ooh, yes, I forget about the incubators. I do forget about the incubators. Additionally, even private schools, like any of these like higher education institutions, we can build this to be adopted quite easily. One tool that I am still unfamiliar with, but I need to work more on, is that of WorkOS. Building SaaS apps, I'm not sponsored. T3 was sponsored, and then I am just mimicking the advertising because they seem like a cool company, and I think they deserve it. But building a SaaS product to be easily implementable, I plan to work on that, such that it's a no-brainer to accept this system. Okay, but what do these institutions need, right? These institutions need personalized learning, metrics of how these students are learning and the aptitude of those students, metrics of how the teachers are teaching and the impact of those teachers, and then equity proof tools and cost savings. So again, with there's budget cuts happening, so if we can save them $1, why not? The equity proof tools, I believe, are going to be in regards to the 0 proofs of the metrics again. One field of research is that on the educational metric of grades and the concept of I forget the law, but it's a law regarding if something is a metric, it will be sought after. And that is not necessarily what you want. You don't necessarily want a metric to be sought after. You want the goal to be sought after. So in this case, the metric is grades, and the goal is organic learning and actually learning the skills that you were supposed to be learning. So that is what has currently occurred, and we're also trying to help solve that. So I'm rambling. It is now almost up to 30 minutes. I apologize. But this is an emerging field. Many of these institutions are already piloting AI tools, but they lack coherence within those tools and a community-first logic. The utilization of these tools on the individual level is great, and it's been exemplified by those like myself who are utilizing ChatGPT and all these LLMs to do great things. But they can be even better when it is together within the community. So we are positing our technology towards that. It's getting late. This will be posted. I will link it. Y'all can read the rest. I want to get to the final point. Not that. The forwardable. If you're still sticking with me, I know you're intrigued by this, and I know you would likely want to help. If you are not in a position to directly contribute, share it with somebody, and this can really be something. I'm going to read this out. I will also have this be within the email, a link to this video at this timestamp. So, there's been a couple takes actually. Shoot. Oh, this is difficult. Being serious is difficult. Howdy, my name is Landon Dahle, and I'm the founder of the Augment Realities Experience, ARX Foundation. My co-founder Adam Miri and I are working on setting up an open education framework we are calling the Scalable Community for Open Online Learning, SCOOL. A proposal for decentralized but structured creative community and aptitude and impact tracking systems designed to ensure that knowledge is open to all and creatives are fairly compensated for their work. We are currently building out a minimum viable product of one such education platform that could exist on the SCOOL framework. We are internally framing this as the ARX Portal. This learning management system will leverage users' personal knowledge management systems and automate the tracking of content consumption to enable the aforementioned impact and aptitude tracking systems. We know this could become the new backend of our education system. There's a $25 billion market up for grabs. And we are working diligently to bring our ideas into reality. We know our solution will address the problems we have deemed worth solving, but are in need of assistance in bringing that solution to fruition and testing its product market fit to ensure long-term sustainability. We truly believe the application of all of the revolutionary technologies, which have been posited towards revolutionizing the education system for decades, could actually revolutionize our education system. To bring our vision to life, we are seeking non-dilutive funding to extend our runway, collaboration opportunities, feedback and critiques, and finally, introductions to networks in the education technology space. For more information about our work, please visit my vault at vault.hopefullyabysmal.com and my devlogs on Substack at hopefullyabysmal. If you would like to connect, feel free to schedule a meeting with me at cal.com/elriantheexplorer. We have the opportunity to make great change in this world we live in. So let's do it. Thank you.